when they actually spend their time listening to this show, what does it mean? It means we're winning.
I'm white, and I've got everything I need. No one clutches their purses when they're in a room alone with me. And I can drive for any neighborhood I please at any hour, and the police don't do a thing. So if I see a penny on the ground, I leave it alone and fucking flip it. I'm a straight white male in America. I got everything I need. I'm a guy getting paid more than a girl with a degree. And I can walk down the streets after dark, no one wants to rape me. And I can get a girl pregnant and just as easily flee. Just like my straight white male dad did to me. So if I see a penny on the ground, I leave it alone and fucking flip it. I'm a straight white male in America. I've got all the luck I need. I've got a pile of broken mirrors and I'm walking under ladders and I'm spilling tons of salt, but to me that doesn't matter, cause my skin and my gender and my orientation are the best things to have if you live in this nation. I recommend it highly. If I see a penny on the ground, I leave it alone and fucking flip it. I'm a straight white male in America. I've got all the luck I need. Shit's gonna work out for me, cause I'm a straight white male in America. I've got all the luck I need.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Intellectual Dollar Tree. We do this show live every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Support this project at patreon.com/Echoplex, or as more people tend to do, you can subscribe on Twitch. You can throw bits on Twitch. You can donate directly. You can even buy our swag. Go to echoplexmedia.com/support. There's a bunch of different ways to support there, although it does not tell you anything about how to support on Twitch. I think my Twitch viewers have that figured out. As people who are watching the show can see, it's just me tonight. It's Homo Alono. HK is on adventures, and by on adventures, I do believe he's helping someone move, and his body is not capable of being in a chair to be on this show tonight, which happens. The older you get, the more traumatic it is to help someone move. Just glad that he doesn't have to move himself. I am not looking forward to the day that I have to move. So I wanted to do something a little different tonight, but I didn't want to do something so terribly different than our usual content, so I kind of settled on this. A little bit of a backstory here. The guy whose channel this is, his name is Travis Pangburn. He does this thing called Pangburn Philosophy. I was kind of sort of familiar with him until about 2 years ago, or maybe 2.5 years ago. I became a little more familiar with him. He went on to Facebook, and he said, hey, I would like to invite anybody who is Antifa to come onto my channel and debate me. And so I replied, Justin Freakin replied, I don't know, a bunch of other people replied that I didn't know on Facebook. And when people replied in the affirmative, he blocked them. So that's interesting to know about Travis Pangburn. I left a comment about that in the comments to actually a reaction that he did to his own video slightly later. Now, this will be the first time we've covered Destiny on the channel as well, because Destiny, Steve Bono went on to Travis Pangburn's show. I don't really have too terribly strong feelings about Destiny. I know he puts his foot in it every once in a while and doesn't always admit when he gets things wrong, but I think, you know, as people get popular, that's just a function of popularity brainworms. I do think that it's going to be pretty funny because Travis Pangburn is one of these like civility porn kind of guys, and Steve Destiny doesn't do civility porn. So these two are definitely going to clash. I just don't know what the nature of them clashing is going to be, and I think it's going to be really funny. In the end, I don't think there's really anybody to root for here, but because I really don't like Travis Pangburn, I'm going to cop to rooting for Steve. So let's go. This is a Pangburn podcast number 61 live, Russia versus Ukraine, philosophy and gaming. And it starts, as you can see here, at about 24 minutes in. There was just this like waiting screen. It didn't go very long, so I imagine one or the other of them was like, fuck this at the end. So let's see how this goes.
All right, my dudes, we are live.
And he does mean dudes. It's only dudes that watch his channel.
Podcast 61. Here we go. Really excited about this. If you guys didn't catch my conversation with Dr. Wilson last episode, please go check that out. That was a really good one. We covered his debunking video of Dr. Robert Malone, who, of course, was made quite famous due to his podcast appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. So, yeah, do check that one out. But, yeah, I'm excited to have Destiny here today. Just a quick bio, for those of you who don't know, Stephen Bonnell streams gameplay on Twitch and YouTube as Destiny. He is most well known for his political content online, but he started his career as a StarCraft 2 live streamer. I fucking love that game. I still love it. I play, for any of you StarCraft 2 players out there, I play the Nexus Wars minigame in the arcade. I love that game. Today he live streams most aspects of his life, including gaming, online debates, and canvassing for political change. Throughout his life, he has always tried to ensure the consistency of his beliefs and to test the ideas he would argue with others. I highly suggest you guys check out his website where he has his philosophical positions, his political positions, kind of all of his positions and different interesting details about his life. And this is at positions.destiny.g.
As you might already be able to tell, Travis Pangburn is in fact the black hole of charisma.
G. Steven, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What are you playing today?
I was doing League of Legends today. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, would you consider that one of the better games that's ever been created?
No, I would say it's probably one of the biggest blights on humanity. It's like Hitler, like AIDS for children, and then League of Legends is like a close third. It might take over AIDS for children, I'm not sure.
Did you ever get hooked on WoW?
No, I didn't actually.
No? Yeah,
No.
I got hooked on WoW once. I think that's the only game I've ever played.
Travis Pangburn's the kind of guy who met his wife on WoW.
I'm sitting down, I start playing, and then 8 hours go by.
Oh, yeah. Destiny's kind of... Destiny just say shitty things just to say them.
That's a pretty engaging game. So what I wanted to just start off with a fun question here. What is the greatest video game of all time? Wonder if we agree.
Great. Well, I think you have to break it out into categories. So we're talking like multiplayer, single player, like...
You have to pick one.
Just...
A game you couldn't live without.
Okay, that's a different question. A game that I personally couldn't live without?
Okay, first we'll start.
Oh God, this is going to be so pedantic.
What do you think is the greatest?
Well, it
game
would
of
have to
all
be
time?
like Pong or something, right? Because it's like the very first game of all time that started off all like video games and stuff.
Dude,
But,
an easy answer to this is Mario Kart.
Like I'd probably say Final Fantasy VII or one of the Metal Gear Solid 3 or something. Or if it's like multiplayer games, it'd probably be like World of Warcraft or Counter-Strike or StarCraft. I don't know.
Did you grow up on Mario 3 like I did? Or did you play Mario?
Like Super Mario World?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was Super Mario World 1, but the one where you jump around, go through the
Mario
map
3 with the whistles that you can collect and kind of hyper jump. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, they're sure establishing rapport here, aren't they?
My choice would be Ocarina of Time. I still like downloading emulators and playing that game. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Russia has declared war on the Ukraine. What was your initial reaction? Did you expect this?
I mean, it's all been kind of building up to it, huh?
Yeah, it's been escalating, but it was weird. Well, Putin was kind of getting into position. He's telling the NATO United that he's just there's nothing really going on here. We're not escalating anything. Meanwhile, he's flying in like 24 attack helicopters. Mm-hmm. What do you have a predicted outcome yet as to whether the Western forces are going to get involved from a military perspective?
I mean, they're not going to be in Ukraine. No, of course not. But I mean, maybe right now, like Putin takes takes as much of Ukraine as he can, and then they give it all back except for eastern parts, and then he tries to maintain that indefinitely. I have no idea. I'm not sure. My guesses here are probably as good as anybody else's. So.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you? What if you were in that position? And we'll get into your moral foundation in a minute here.
Your moral foundation. Shut the fuck up.
On your website. What do you think is the good thing to do here? Like if you were at the head of the United States of America.
I mean, I think Biden has handled the situation like almost perfectly. I don't know what else can be done. I mean, it's strong condemnation from the world. It's sanctioning in whatever ways possible. Arguably, the sanctions we've put on are more severe than kicking Russia out of SWIFT, which is really big. The United States has been incredibly ambitious and aggressive in declassifying intelligence related to Russian moves, which has been really good. So everybody saw what was happening, and then it happened just as the United States said it would, which I think it's going far to rebuilding our credibility. I think that the United States is doing a good job at Biden, especially at kind of coming at this multilaterally. It's not just the United States just going into Iraq saying, screw off every other country. We don't care if you like it or not. But it's the United States trying to bring everybody in NATO on board so that we can all multilaterally condemn these issues. So the United States is a leader in this sense, instead of just the lone wolf going in and doing schizophrenic shit into other countries.
Oh, come on, Steve, did you have to do that?
Can be expected to do. And I think
you had such a reasonable take, Steve. Why'd you have to do that?
That's a really boring question. I don't usually think anybody's good or evil. I think Putin probably remembers the old Soviet Union. I think that Russia is not doing as well as they are. It's no China. I think that Russia in general kind of sees the West as inevitably failing, and when they do, they want the new kind of reestablished Soviet Union, the new Russian Federation, to step up and kind of take that place. So they're just kind of working on building that world as much as possible, I think.
Right. But do you have a concept of evil within your moral foundation?
Oh my God. He just said he doesn't.
Not I mean, there's bad things, I guess, but it's just evil is just not usually a way that I frame the world. I think about the world.
The thing about fucking Destiny is as far as the way we view things, a lot of times we're the same. There's nothing that he's saying here doesn't pretty much accurately describe how I feel. If I were asked the questions, the substance of the answer would be the same. He's just going to throw in some cringe. He was oh, you're acting all schizophrenic about it. It's do you really have to do it that way, dude? This is one of the things that bothers me a little bit about him, is that he's in a lot of ways out there, for the most part, representing a point of view that is pretty much in line with my point of view. But then he just says dumb shit. I don't know, to get attention or to catch people off guard or whatever. And I wish he wouldn't do that.
The world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I don't think of individuals that way. I think individuals can do evil things, but I don't think they can be evil. Let's look at your, something listed under your philosophy tab on your website, your positions website, maximizing one's experience. I just kind of wanted to go through this with you and ask you some questions about it. So part one, I exist. I have an experience. I want to maximize my experience. Would you claim that you know that you exist?
I mean, as much as you can know anything. Yeah.
Fucking shut up. I hate this guy.
How would you describe your epistemological standard for truth? Kind of in your knowledge triangle. Would you Oh,
we got to take a guess. We're about 5 minutes in. How long until Destiny's had it with this guy? Because this guy is fucking insufferable, right? And we all know that Steve is not going to fucking put up with this bullshit for very long. I'm going to give it another 3 to 4 minutes before Steve starts to become visibly annoyed with Travis Pangburn.
Do you have to be certain of something, or can you be almost certain of something?
It's going to be contextual. I haven't done enough reading to have an established, I haven't picked out my preferable theory of truth. I know there's JTB, justified true belief. There's other ways of approaching it.
Yep.
I kind of talk around these concepts, but I haven't read into them enough to pick out one where it's oh, I like this particular one. But I mean, I'll talk about usually when I talk about knowing something, because most conversations won't go to this level, but I'll talk about knowing them within the context of something. So for instance, I know that if I punch somebody else in the face, that they're going to say ow and get upset with me.
Right.
But if somebody's do you really know that you exist? And okay, well, maybe not, but like within the context of our human experience, right? That's usually how I speak. I can play like the ultimate skeptic game and be ultimately skeptical, but for like 99.99% of conversations, there's no real utility to doing that. So
yeah, I guess it relates to like the strength of one's convictions. Some people are absolutely certain that there are gods and that they know this, right?
They just need to do more drugs and they'll break that down pretty quickly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that he just said that there's a lot of people, or some people, that there's very few people, I think, you like, when it comes down to it, are absolutely certain there is a god or gods. I don't know, but that's just my guess. But it's just like weird because these people are both clearly like non-believers. So like, what's the point of like talking about that?
You're an atheist. Do you describe yourself as that?
Yeah, or a-religious. I don't really believe in any God, dude. Yeah.
Did you ever believe in God?
Yeah, I grew up super Catholic.
Oh, okay. Was there anything you miss about being a Catholic?
Absolutely fucking not.
No?
No. If I was a more like friend-driven person, maybe like sense of community or whatever is nice, but otherwise, no, not really.
Do you have friends outside the internet? Some people don't because they find it too... socially awkward or causes
everything I do is like connected to like internet stuff. Yeah. So not really, no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
If you were going to go do something with friends, even if it's rare, what does that usually look like?
Go watch a movie, go out to like eat or something like that, like whatever normal shit people do, I guess.
You don't go to the club? Are you a big clubber?
Not a big club, dude. No.
Do you dance?
Absolutely fucking not.
Oh, Steve needs to dance more. Oh, come on, man. I was saying that like Steve's like kind of like me, and like just listen to this. No, he's not. And Steve, I'd take that back. I'm not very much like fucking Steve at all.
Come on, man. You gotta. I mean, doesn't it? Don't you think it? I mean, you're a piano player. Were you involved in like the theater scene as you were going through high school?
Tangentially, very, very little. I did like tech stuff, so not really.
Stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I come from a musical theater performance background, so I guess dancing was a big part of that. What do you play on the piano? Like, what kind of music do you like to play?
I just like to make stuff up, improv kind of. Do you have like a musical background?
Yeah, I do. I learned some stuff about boogie woogie when I was young, and then I started playing.
This is painfully boring, but only one of the two people on here knows that this is painfully boring.
High school. But yeah, I love playing. I'm mostly taught. I learned by ear, but yeah, I don't read well at all. That's for sure. But yeah, no, I love still playing. I can usually pick up a song if I just hear a bit of it, and yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
How about you? Did you do any training or?
Yeah, I went to school for music. I was a saxophone performance major.
Cool.
And then I wanted to do composition. Yeah.
Nice. And do you compose your own music? Do you publish it?
Just small pieces, kind of like I do. Sometimes I'll make like little pieces of music and I'll throw it out to my community and have them make like full songs out of it. I call it like my little composition challenge, and I've done 10 of those so far. So yeah, it's been fun.
Where do you release that stuff? Where can people find it if they want to listen?
That actually sounds fun. Steve should do that more.
SoundCloud or Stephen Bunnell I SoundCloud or something that's there, but they're not like full pieces. Like, oh, there's a whole piece of music, just like little like 2 or 3 minute piano blurbs.
Yeah. So you say you want to maximize. Okay, you say you want to maximize my experience. Maximize your experience by what metric?
I think it's all relative to whatever that person wants to do. I think there are some things that make people happy, and then people kind of seek to like explore those things or maximize those things in their life.
Okay, so experience. If I wanted to maximize my experience, and let's say I like playing piano, how would it apply?
If you ever catch me on a podcast talking to somebody about maximizing my experience, and I'm not like being incredibly sarcastic, I want you to unfollow my channel, and I want you to stop following this podcast.
That kind of moral statement.
That's not a moral statement. That's just a descriptive one. I just think that's what people do. I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just, I think that's just how people function.
Oh, okay. So you believe that's what is going on in reality? People are trying to maximize their experience.
Yeah, I think people appeal to like other like external things of morality, but I don't believe that. I don't really believe that. Yeah.
And when someone kills themselves, are they minimizing their experience? Would you say?
Not necessarily. I mean, some people, if they feel like, existence is too painful for one reason or another, and they feel like dying would be preferable to living, because not everybody lives in a state where they feel happy or fulfilled or whatever. Then, I mean, to them, maybe committing suicide is the what they feel at that time is the best option. Right. Not to say that there's no way that it couldn't change in the future. There isn't some way to get them out of that thing, but.
Right. Okay, and then part 2, you go on to other humans exist. Other humans have an experience like mine. Other humans want to maximize their experience. Would you claim to know that other humans want to maximize their experience? What if some don't? What if you were to come across some that don't? Would that destroy this argument?
No, I think it's pretty basic. I think my argumentation is pretty basic. It's almost reductive. Like, I can't fathom somebody that doesn't do the things that they want to do. I mean, save for somebody literally grabbing them and controlling them to make them do things. I think we all do things because at the end of the day, it serves some purpose that we find worthy. Like, I would say the same for always the standard test. Like, what about somebody who's like altruistic? It's like, I don't think anybody's completely altruistic. I think you do good things because you think you should do good things, and then you get some sort of fulfillment or happiness out of that. Like, you wouldn't continue to trudge on with those things if they made you completely and utterly miserable. You would probably find something else.
Yeah, I've stumbled upon what I think is the fundamental metric, and I think it's really pleasure. Like, we get this pleasure feedback. We choose that soda versus that soda for what reason?
It's taking a lot longer for fucking Steve to lose his nerve with this guy than I thought it would. So I would have already lost my nerve with this conversation. I'd have been like, do we want to talk about something or what?
Right. Soda. That's really what I think is going on when we make, or as we feel as though we're making choices. Do you believe we actually do make choices from like a very like meta scale of things? Are you a determinist?
No, I'm like a hard line determinist.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm like, it's very meaningful to have conversations like we're determinists. It doesn't really. So I just kind of like don't think about that.
Yeah. You play in this cinema like I think we all do. Okay, cool. Part 3, humans synergize to create better experiences. If I synergize with others, it will maximize my experience. Others will synergize with me to maximize their experience. Okay, on to synergize experience. Combining experiences to create greater experiences. But again, with that quality...
You wrote some shit on your website, and we're going to go over it. This is the interview.
By what standard? Is that like by... people can put... Like, because someone might want to create better experiences for themselves that may, for instance, be unhealthy choices from a biological well-being perspective. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it can be like a little reductive. It's just whatever people want to do. This isn't supposed to, it's just kind of like my way of making sense of how people act. It's not supposed to be some great reveal, or it's not supposed to be like, oh my God, like there's so much insight here into like the human experience. Like, this is just kind of like how I think people make choices, make decisions. And then I kind of evaluate people as such.
Right. Do you think sometimes, so if someone was, and this kind of looks like, some language I use in my pleasure drive theory, but do you think like if someone was to make a long-term investment in maximizing their experience, they're still, would you say they're still maximizing their experience? It doesn't have to be like a short-term.
Yeah, of course. Like if you go to the gym, like, oh, well, that's not maximizing experience. It sucks to go to the gym. It's like, oh yeah, but it's a form of investment, right? That's like saying like, are you losing money when you buy a stock? Because like when you buy the stock, you don't have the money. Well, no, obviously you're investing it, right? Hoping that there's going to be a return or a dividend paid off in the future, where the future happiness outweighs whatever temporary negative thing that you're suffering, right? Yeah. Same thing with like school or work or whatever.
I actually watched some of your content. In one of your videos, you outlined these two categories of how to find correct information on the internet. And I actually thought what you had to say, and I think you were speaking to some college students about passive information gathering versus active information gathering. I think that's a worthwhile idea to share here. Can you explain those two things?
Yeah, so I think if you're gathering information, it's an active process. There's no such thing as passive information gathering. A lot of people mistake, like they think that they're doing research, but in reality, they're just kind of like being fed information through whatever media they consume, whatever social media they consume. Like just having things going through like a Twitter feed or having things going through like a Facebook feed or whatever, that's not like research. You're not gathering information. There's just you're just being like shown stuff by whoever wants to show it to you. It might be a company that's trying to maximize its viewer hours. It might be like, I don't know, any number of things. But yeah, a lot of people just mistake, like when you ask somebody, usually when people say like, oh yeah, I've done a lot of research on this, what they really mean to say is like, they've seen a lot of tweets that have a lot of headlines that seem to imply a certain thing. And that's the extent of their research. They haven't even clicked through and read the article.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Is this
So what I'm noticing here is there's like almost no like back and forth going on. The interviewer, Travis Pangburn, is just reading off of a list of questions. And then like he's going, oh, okay, that's great. And then just moving on to the next question. They don't even have to be on a call for this to fucking work, right? They could be like, he could record the question, send it to Destiny. Destiny could record the answer to the question and send it back to him, and they could just keep doing that, and then he could stitch it together later, and we would be looking at the same piece of content.
With the messaging you give to your followers. By the way, do you have a pretty young following, would you say? Is it mostly young people?
I mean, young compared to what? Compared to the rest of Twitch? Probably not.
Yeah, okay, and I'm just not familiar with the age demographics.
I would say that my audience probably skews a bit older now, but the internet's a different place than when I was 20, right? Yeah. So when I was a kid, like, or I say kid, 20. When I was 20, like my audience probably skewed in the 20s because everybody in the internet was in their 20s. There's not people in their 30s and 40s weren't on the internet when I was 20. Like those guys were weird. But now that I'm older and everybody's a little bit older, now there's a lot of people like in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s on the internet. So like my audience skews older there because there's a lot of young kids on the internet still, but there's like now there's kind of like older people that use the internet as well.
Right. Okay, interesting. What do you think is your most unpopular opinion amongst your audience that they kind of roast you for or go after you for?
My most unpopular opinion. Oof, I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that a lot.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a meme opinion about food or something, or like personally, I'm kind of a strange person, or I'm a little bit different. So there's like a couple of like personal things that I have just in my personal life that people probably don't like very much, but it's just, I don't like force it on people or whatever. So
yeah. The personal things in your life, you're in a open poly relationship. Is that, for someone like me, that sounds like something I wouldn't want, although, I've never tried it. Why do you think some people are, desire this and other people don't?
Some people might just not get that jealous. I don't really get that jealous. Some people may like to fuck around a lot. I like to fuck around a lot.
I mean, I like fucking around, but I would do that like when I'm living the single life, right?
Yeah, sure. But
this guy's like stupid. The guy on the left, I think he's just dumb. Like for all Destiny's faults, right? Destiny ain't dumb. Why do some people like poly relationships and some people don't? It's like you motherfucker. It's because some people like it and some people don't. It's open relationships have been good for me. They're not good for other people. And I've had partners that we've tried it and they didn't like it and I did. So we've decided to just close the relationship down and only have like threesomes and shit. Like everybody wants some different shit out of their relationships. This is a weird thing to like, why do you suppose some people like it and some people don't? It's like asking why some people prefer like kosher dill pickles and some people prefer like those really kind of sharp dill pickles. It's like fucking they just like one different thing. What a dumb thing to ask about. Like there's an interesting way to talk about it, to be like, hey, is this creating conflict in your life? Are there things about it you don't like, or were there things that surprised you about it? There's all kinds of ways to talk about this and make it a little more interesting. But Travis Pangburn is like, well, you have a poly relationship and other people don't. Or why do you suppose that you like it and somebody else doesn't? It's a dumb fucking question.
And like, if you don't get too jealous, if you don't mind your partner doing it, if you like to do it, then I mean, you'll probably be in an open relationship, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people in like a lot of people in relationships like to feel some level of commitment or some level of like possessiveness, or like not possessiveness in a negative way, but like, oh, like this is my partner, we have an experience, we share it together. Yeah.
Interesting. Does your audience ever give you shit, or have they ever given you shit for talking to anyone, any guests?
Yeah, all the time. People sometimes don't like if I talk to people that are too far left. People don't like if I talk to people that are too far right. It just depends on the person. Yeah.
And how was your conversation with Gavin McInnes?
It was a little bit more memey than I thought it would be. I thought he'd be at least a little bit serious, but I didn't realize that he was like a full-on like kind of clown. So, but it was funny, I guess.
Yeah. He's a pretty funny guy. I think I saw a couple clips. He was telling some jokes during your guys' discussion, but yeah, it was hard to find anything of real substance. I saw you went on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I think he's one of the funnier men on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, he's funny, but he's not joking.
No, I know it's not. It's funny for kind of tragic reasons, right? Did you do well in high school or in university?
High school, yes. University, no. I was just working too much.
Yeah. What were you studying when you were in post-secondary?
I went to school for music performance.
Yeah, he already told you that, Travis.
Right. Okay. And what's your favorite composition program to use?
I mean, we did not dictation, but we used to write like sheet music and stuff. We would do Finale, or if you were poor, you'd use Sibelius.
Oh my God, this guy's just reading off the list.
I don't know if DAWs. I messed around with
this sucks.
Like Reason, Logic, Adobe, or not Adobe, Ableton. Yeah. It just kind of depends, but.
Yeah, I remember composing on Finale. I wrote my first musical on Finale, a vampire love musical. This was before Twilight, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, I still play some of that music once in a while. Would you say that music is the strongest piece of artistic inspiration you have in your life, or do you engage in other artistic endeavors?
Artistic? No. No, I'd say music definitely is. Yeah.
What's been the biggest failure of this pandemic?
The biggest failure of the pandemic.
I caught that too, where he said artistic. No.
I think being a little bit more measured with how information is being presented and not being so absolute, such that you get kind of called out for it later if you're not clear enough with your terms.
Right. What do you think of science communication in general? How would you want to see scientists and science communicators be more successful? Is there something missing here? I think there's a lack of philosophical knowledge and how important it is to understand philosophy, logic, epistemology when you're communicating to, trying to communicate knowledge to a person. What do you think?
I don't think communicators necessarily have the worst problems. I think the problem is there's just so many parts of our society that are kind of like incentivized into like kind of misrepresenting stuff that it makes it really hard for communicators to do their job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't scientific communicators just communicate the data? Should they not be tied up in the...
What kind of... No. If they were just communicating the data, they wouldn't need to be there, Travis Pangburn. What a dumb question. Oh, shouldn't they just give you the data? Well, then what the fuck's the point of the science communicator? You could just go read the data. The point of a science communicator is that they like explain the data, they contextualize it for a lay audience so that a lay audience can understand what the data mean. What kind of dumb fucking question is that? This guy like had time to think about and write down his questions too.
Well, like the thing is that like when we're talking about like public health and stuff, like all of it is politics and data. Like there's no such thing as raw data, right? Like it exists in some sort of context. Right.
Well, there exists raw data. I mean, there's a tree outside. It's an observed phenomena. It's a fact.
Yeah, but we have to, there's like a normative decision that precedes the observation of the tree. We have to choose to observe the tree. When it comes to the exploration of scientific data, even for the most rigid empirical data, there's a normative decision that has to happen first for us to like explore certain types of data. So I think that science is the victim of normativity, not like it doesn't exist independent of it, I would say.
So you think there's an active choice in your sense-making apparatus taking in things? Because I'm looking at you, my eyes are moving over here, and they're looking around.
Like Steve, if like when he's talking about this stuff, he's just like your most kind of basic, easy to understand, sort of mainstream liberal who talk when he's talking about this stuff, and he's like blowing this guy's mind by being like, well, we had, before we do science, we have to decide to do it. So we like, that has some impact on the things we look into. It's like, no shit. And this guy's just like, whoa.
I don't see those as choices.
But I mean, like, you have to make the choice first just to even like have me on the show, right?
Yeah, to have you on the show, sure. But yeah, I guess I disagreed with the claim that there aren't any, I forget the way you put it, but,
But he just said it.
I'm just saying that, like, when it comes to like data, right? Like, how do we get the data? Mm-hmm. Like, in order to get the data, somebody must have chosen, like, well, hey, we're going to investigate this.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we can't really pretend that like science exists in like this empirical vacuum where it's like, oh, hey, look, like it's science. Like science just does. It's not a thing that does. Science is the tool that's directed by humans for a purpose, right?
I think we do our best to do that with the scientific consensus and everything we do to come to that. That's one thing I've
like. He's not even like, like he's not even like responding to the thing Destiny just said, right? Destiny's like, we've decided that we're going to investigate the following things. So we find out, we get data about the following things that we wouldn't have otherwise gotten if we didn't decide to investigate them. And he's like, and he said, science doesn't exist in a vacuum, that it just does it by itself. We have to decide to do it. That's pretty non-controversial. And this guy's, well, what about the scientific consensus? We do a pretty good job of, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And who's we? You're a musical theater major.
Peer review equals scientific consensus, and then they see a peer-reviewed journal that ends up being wrong, and then they distrust the method altogether. Mm-hmm. I see this a lot.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, peer-reviewed journals like The Lancet published a huge study. What was it related to? It might have been related to vaccines. It had something to do with COVID-19, but The Lancet published a huge study, and the data sets ended up being either fabricated or unverifiable, and they had to pull it. And it was a huge blow to, was it The Lancet, or was it might have been related to ivermectin. But they had to pull that study, and it looked really bad. And then also, I think it was The Lancet as well that originally published the vaccine gives autism study, like however many decades ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, there are mistakes that happen. Yeah.
Yeah. For the people engaging in confirmation bias, it kind of gives them some fuel. But of course, if they went one step further and if they looked into what the scientific consensus has to say about this pulled article, you might, you should be able to come up with some better information. You had an interesting discussion with this guy, he had long hair and an accent. I don't think he had a name on your channel, but you guys were talking about male on female rape. You had some interesting ideas as to how we can better deal with.
Oh, it's about to go turbo.
What was that conversation about? Like, what was the disagreement about there?
I had a lot of conversations related to this topic recently. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Why is that, by the way? Did you say something and people got triggered and came after you, or?
Okay, the framing there. Did you say something and people got triggered and came after you? Like, the framing there is just straight up like men's rights activist framing. Like, that framing comes out of like the Gamergate crowd. The way you asked that question is, did you say something and a lot of the people in your community thought you either were talking out your ass, or your take was stupid and too hot, or they thought you were being, like a little too cute about what you were saying? You could say any number of things, but people got triggered by you. Well, fucking shut up.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember what was the original tweet that kicked it off. I think it basically had to do with like I feel like 100% of the onus on like making it so people aren't raped ends up falling on men. And I think the conversations are a little bit childish. And I think that we can probably have better conversations about these things. That wasn't my tweet though. My original tweet was a lot more inflammatory. I think it was something akin to like, I think I said something like if women can't state any preferences or even like speak up at all during sex, that like they should be treated like retarded children. And you
whoa, dude, why did you tweet that?
To like guide them to the right. It was something like that. It was a pretty big, it was a pretty hyperbolic, pretty inflammatory tweet, but it was something like that. And then it set off like a whole week's worth of like argumentation and shit.
Yeah. Interesting.
Interesting. That's all he has to say about that is interesting. I would be like, what in the world possessed you to say that on Twitter? Like, interesting, fascinating. Shut the fuck up.
So, yeah, I mean, that's going to really piss people off because they'll think that you're pushing the onus. You would be strawmanned to think that you're pushing the onus.
Yeah, everything becomes victim blaming and all.
Well, no. That's not the problem with that. It's like the words he chose, not just the thing that he said, but the words he chose were chosen specifically to be inflammatory and to piss people off. And he was also like strawmanning a position that was like, that women have no agency at all during sex. Is that what we think? No, we don't think that. That's these conversations. He was saying we could have a better conversation about it, but then he started a bad conversation about it. And you wonder why people didn't like that he started a bad conversation about it. And Travis Pangburn can't fucking figure that out. He can't be like, well, that was a shitty thing to say. That sounds kind of shitty. Why'd you do that? Nope. Can't ask that question. Loses audience.
Shit, whenever people get super ass mad about it, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is there anything difficult about being in a poly relationship? My mind is still kind of fixated on that.
Why?
I mean, I don't know. It's all just every relationship is difficult. I'll just say that every relationship has its problems. I don't know if there's anything especially difficult about this, but I mean, it's going to depend on like the type of person you are and like what you're comfortable with. So like, obviously if you would be jealous in this environment, then it would be exceedingly difficult for you. But if you're not, then I mean, it would just be like normal problems you have, right? Maybe like sometimes you get a wife that's upset because you're spending too much time with friends. Well, now maybe I can have a wife that's upset because I'm spending too much time fucking a friend or something, right? Like it's just like the same kind of problems, just in a different way. It's like,
yeah, that sounds very different. Someone sent me
but he just said it's the same, and you just said, oh, that sounds very different. This guy can't even fucking mirror well. What a shitty interviewer. This guy would have got wrecked if you would have had anybody on to talk to him about anti-fascist action.
Some people you've there was a few photos. Some people you've dated. I believe your current fiance, and she's quite a beautiful girl. Do you think you could have landed this caliber of?
She's a woman
if you weren't a famous streamer?
I don't know. It depends on what else I was doing, I guess.
Do you think that plays a big role?
I mean, I would hope that the thing that I've spent the last 12 years of my life building as a career would play a big role in who I could get as a partner. Yeah, I would hope so, right? Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't doing this, if I was successable in any other field or business, like I imagine that would also probably play a role in me being able to have like a certain partner. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does look like, sometimes when, obviously when people get famous or they start making a lot of money, it tends to open that pool up into places where you may have never been able to dive into, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. I mean, people will date or marry or like successful people, right? So, I mean, if you're successful in some domain or some realm, I imagine you probably have more, like if you're the partner at a law firm or if you're a big shot business guy or a CEO of a company or whatever, it's probably all going to be the case.
What would you be doing if you weren't doing this, streaming?
I don't know. It depends. Hopefully something related to music, I guess.
Yeah. Are you, did you ever have a point in your, I guess your music upbringing where you thought that you were going to be a performer, or did you suspect that you would have maybe been a producer?
I have no idea. I was always realistic. Basically I had a full-time job at a casino that I was working at. That's what I focused on more because I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to turn music into a full-time profession. Like that's a really hard thing to do for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you doing at the casino?
I worked a lot of different positions in a casino restaurant basically, and then I ended up being a supervisor of a restaurant, like a little diner.
Yeah. What is your view on gambling in general?
I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good to do generally.
Yeah. There's a lot of YouTubers and streamers out there that gamble all day and entertain people. I'm sure some people get into gambling from watching these streamers that wouldn't normally get into it. Would you think that this is a bad thing?
I mean, I personally don't like it, but I mean, I don't know if I have like a huge, like, I mean, gambling is legal to exist in the world. Like,
yeah.
You know?
All right, man. Well, honestly, I think that was the.
What a shitty interview.
Usually, I only get through a third of the questions I want to work through, but
that's because you have people on your show like Sam Harris or Jordan Peterson or the Weinsteins, or people who, no matter what you ask them, they'll just tell you about how great they are the whole time. And say what you will about Destiny, he doesn't do that. He's just going to answer your goddamn question. Because he just fucking answers questions. And so, yeah, this guy, he prepared a whole list of questions. He's like, oh, I'm going to do such a good job and we're going to get such great insight into this guy. But you got to push this guy a little bit to get him to fucking say anything. Like, he's obviously bored. Like, as soon as you notice that your guest is getting bored, maybe it's time to switch things up a little bit. Maybe try to unbore them.
You go right to the point, brother.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be my quickest podcast on the books. Are you still able to join us in Discord for a Q&A?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Well, you guys, I just want to say that's podcast 61 in the books. I want to thank Stephen for coming on and joining me. And you have the Discord link, so we'll see you in there in about 20 or so minutes, if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, or I can start whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can just head in there right now.
That was the worst interview I've ever seen, but check this out. This guy thinks it's the worst interview he's ever done too. His worst podcast ever, but his reason for it is amazing.
Hey guys, Trav here. I wanted to talk about my recent podcast with Twitch and YouTube streamer Destiny, Stephen Bonnell, or Bonnell, who talks about politics and philosophy while he's gaming. So let's look at debate bro culture. What is this?
But you didn't even get into a debate with him. What do you mean get into debate bro culture? Also, this guy put up on Facebook like a few years ago that he wanted to debate anybody who was Antifa or was like an anti-fascist. And then he blocked everybody who agreed to debate him. That was his foray into debate bro culture. It was like, oh shit, all these people agreed to talk to me. I'm going to block them all.
I thought Urban Dictionary had something really funny, so I wanted to read it. Someone who has figured out how to make a living by appealing to teenage bros who couldn't tell what a sound argument looked like if it hit them flat in the face, as exemplified by the most popular...
Oh, you coward. You coward. You coward. You could have done this when you were talking to him, couldn't you have? You coward.
Which we'll get to. Such youth believe that the more insults and taunts are crammed into a sentence, the more effective a refutation, especially when paired with WWE heel-style self-praise and a loud, masculine voice. The movie Idiocracy inevitably comes.
But I don't think that fucking like toxic masculine... Steve will say things that are like kind of toxic and shitty and sexist, but I don't think that stereotypical toxic masculinity with the voice thing, Steve doesn't do that.
So debate bro fan says, brah, did you watch Tough Commie Hooligan last night? He destroyed that liberal professor. Then the educated youth says, no, how did the professor lose? Well, TCH said he had a mosquito level IQ. He also laughed very loud every time the professor tried to respond. It was carnage.
Yeah, what a fucking coward. What a fuck after the interview. Let's just face it, Steve's more popular than Travis Pangburn. After Steve took the time to go on his show, this guy's going to go after him for being a debate bro. But he fucking didn't say a goddamn word about this when he was talking to him.
Okay. I thought that was funny. So some thoughts on debate bro culture. Many of these so-called debate tactics that are being used, it seem to be grounded in bad faith, discourse, unhelpfulness, and like blatant fallacy.
Right, but none of that happened in your interaction with him, and you're not providing examples of where he did it. There are examples. Chat's saying right now, for people on the podcast, there is a chat here. Follow the show at twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. Chat saying that Steve does talk over people. And when I've talked to people I've disagreed with, I've talked over them too. I think we all do it if we're debating, or if we feel like we can do it, we do it.
Yelling, or here are some things: yelling or talking over your interlocutor, ad hominem attacks, lack of moral consideration and appreciation, self-aggrandizing, attention seeking, lack of attention, straw manning, defensiveness. So what happens when
you got none of that? You got boredom because you were reading off of a fucking bizarre list of questions.
So-called debate bro like Destiny comes on my podcast.
Oh no, now he's going to say that he's too stupid for the podcast that Travis Pangburn does watch. This is exactly what he's going to say. I have this hurled at me a lot, like from the intellectual space. Even some of the people I like and follow and stuff on Twitter probably generally have this opinion about the content we do here, particularly the intellectual Dollar Tree. In fact, I've had people privately come at me about the way I've gone after David Fuller, and I bet he's going to level the same criticisms that were leveled at me. But the difference is like that those people didn't first have me on their show and then ask me a bunch of like very dumb milquetoast questions that don't even begin to address any of this stuff, and then do a video about me afterward. They like just disagreed with me and came to me and said, here's why I disagree with what you're doing, which is actually not cowardice. And I'm not mad at any of them for it. Right? Like, what the fuck?
My podcast that really focuses on substance. I want to get to know and understand the
substance. Like, what's your favorite video game? Please.
Mind of my interlocutor in a good faith, helpful way. So I didn't experience much of what I listed under the debate bro tactics that I just went over. I didn't experience much of anything.
But you're the interviewer. You're the interviewer, and you had somebody on your show who talks for a living, and you couldn't get them to talk.
It was just like this deep void. It was robotic, binary, inattentive, absent, vagueness, obliviousness. Like there was
this guy, I could tell you straight up, he's mad that his guest did not take the interaction on the Pangburn show as if it was some kind of high-minded intellectual endeavor, and he's very upset about that.
A lot of it was very disconnected. So a few of my followers really encouraged me to invite Destiny on the podcast, thought it might be interesting because some of them watch Destiny. I watched some of his interviews and thought, him and I might have an interesting discussion, but
then you asked, do you believe that we exist? You could have got into it about Ukraine, but you probably agree on Ukraine. And then you ask these kind of weird pseudo-philosophical questions that if you watched even a few hours of Destiny's fucking shit, he's not the least, he's like me in that. I'm not the least bit interested in that shit either. I don't even think about it when I'm really stoned. So like a good interviewer will generally meet their guest where they're at, or at least meet them halfway. And so this guy didn't do that. And so he got a fucking bored guest who was like just answering the questions like as if they were just taking a survey and shit, because that's what the interview was like. It was like he was just doing a survey about like a bunch of kind of disconnected questions, hoping like some kind of interesting conversation or possibly confrontation would jump off from that. But it never did, because the questions were fucking boring.
We didn't have a discussion at all, really. It was more like typing in a question into Wolfram Alpha and getting the quickest, most basic response.
Because your questions were basic. What would you be doing if you weren't doing this? And he answered, I don't know. Hopefully something with music. That's a perfectly fine fucking answer. What is he supposed to do? He's supposed to go down a list of possible occupations and 1 to 10 how likely he thinks it is he'd be doing those things. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Most vague response. I felt like a parent, telling my child to finish his broccoli. Steven takes one little bite of his broccoli and looks at me and says, is that enough? Am I done? And
oh, you would have never done this. Like, check this out. This guy would have never said any of this during the interview. If I had Destiny on, I'd go after him on some stuff. Sure. Why wouldn't I? It's fun. I like the rope-a-dope. This guy doesn't like the rope-a-dope. And if you wanted to get like any substance or anything interesting out of this fucking interview, he was going to have to be ready to rope-a-dope. And like, he's not ready for it. He can't do it. And so it was just a fucking phone survey. And he's like, thanks, I got to make my next call. And then he went and did the same phone survey for someone else. It's almost like he was a telemarketer.
And then I say, no, you're going to have to eat all that broccoli, before you get any cake. That was how that...
He could have been like, hey, I feel like you're being dismissive and not paying very much attention to this interview. That would have been great. That would have been fantastic if he would have done that. But he's just straight up trying to say that he thinks this other guy's stupid. And I think if they would have gotten into like the meat of some things they disagree with about, I think this guy would have come out looking like he didn't know what he was talking about.
That's what it felt like being in that conversation. I would suggest to Destiny that if he is going to be a guest on someone's show, he should probably look into the show, look into the style.
But why? Next time you come on my show, you better act like me. Come on my show. What I want you to do is do an Eric Weinstein, please, where you just talk endlessly about how fucking smart you are. That's what I was hoping. That's what I was hoping for. Well, that's not what this guy does. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, make no mistake, but he's not just going to unprompted tell you for 15 minutes why he is. You have to start telling him he's not. And then you get that I'm the smartest guy in the room out of this guy. Come on now. This guy didn't watch any of this guy's content. He's like, oh, you didn't watch my show. Fool, you didn't watch much of his show either.
And feel of it, look into the host, how they usually conduct interviews or discussions on their program, and do some preparation. All in all, I think Steven seems to be a pretty good guy with a lot of unclarified concepts in his mind, which you'll see.
But the answers to your questions were all like very direct and clear. They just weren't verbose. Just because you don't answer a question with like fucking 3 paragraphs doesn't mean that you haven't thought about it. And it doesn't mean that you haven't given an answer that's clear or that you don't have it worked out in your head. In fact, I would suggest the opposite. If somebody can answer a question in a couple sentences, it seems like they fucking know the answer. It seems like if you have to like write a book to answer a question, maybe you don't know the answer or you're not good at answering the question.
If you go and watch the discussion we had together,
we did.
I do like that he is attracting more people to philosophy, to politics, to want to people wanting to hear different perspectives and what's going on. I just hope they aren't adopting what seems to be some really bad habits here.
By not being hyper credulous to fucking Travis Pangburn. That's the bad habit he thinks is here. By not being overly verbose and grandiose about oneself. By not by not answering a question with several paragraphs when a couple sentences would do. Those are the bad habits, I guess, people would learn, according to Travis Pangburn.
But, I thought it was worth putting out this critique. But yeah, it's nothing personal against Destiny. I just think he should try to improve in some of these areas if he's going on and being a guest on people's programs.
Yikes, dude. You didn't give me the reverence as a big thinker that I thought you should give to me. And I think that's a moral failing on your part when I asked such interesting questions as, do you like being polyamorous? Why might someone not like being polyamorous? Oh man, we've had a couple doozies the last couple weeks on this show, a couple pretty bad episodes. Like that interview was shit. That was a shitty interview. It takes two to tango, but in the end, it's the host's job to try to drag the guest kicking and screaming if they have to into interacting and having some legitimate back and forth. I was wrong. I thought for sure pretty quickly Steve was going to get hella pissed off at this guy for being like obnoxious, for being Travis Pangburn, and that didn't happen. So I was wrong about that. I thought for sure he was going to be like, eventually he was going to be like, what are we even talking about? Why are we talking about this? That's what I was expecting, because that's, it could have gone that way, and that would have been interesting, because then the guy would have got, Travis Pangburn would have got hell pissed that fucking Destiny didn't think that his questions were interesting or that the interview was interesting. It was the most uninteresting interview that I think has ever happened. The interview would have been more interesting had they just both sat there and not said anything, or both just given a lecture at the same time the whole time. I don't know what we're going to do when we get back for the post game. We may look a little bit more into Travis Pangburn, because that guy's aggressively boring and he thinks he's just the sharpest tool in the shed. But thanks, podcast listeners, for checking out the show. You can find me on Twitter. I don't know, just go look on our website on the contact page, echoplexmedia.com. HK will be back next week. If you listened for HK and you suffered through this, thank you. And live viewers, live listeners, hang tight. I'm going to change the colors of the light in the room, get myself a cocktail, play Boomers. And I don't know, we'll do something other than what we just watched. Thanks for toughing that out with me. I feel like I've been saying that more and more on Wednesdays. Peace out, podcast listeners.